I feel like that lady in Greece. What, you don't have a xylophone at home? Put it away, Anne. Last week, I sunk my teeth into the musical episode of Buffy. Get it? Because she slays vampires. And two things that I didn't foresee happened. One, the Joss Whedon die-hard trolls basically took over my comment section and I got cancelled for putting in the most mild disclaimer that you've ever witnessed in your life. Two, I developed an all-consuming fascination with the cultural phenomenon that is the musical episode. You know what I'm talking about, that one random episode in a long-running series where out of the blue the characters put on a song and dance. My brain is finding it very hard not to ruminate on the fact that so many writers' rooms were delusional enough to be like, how hard can it be to suddenly make your characters sing despite their well-established non-musical context? Heck, why don't we just write an entire original score? How brave. Yeah, that's the word I'm gonna stick to. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about musical theater, and perhaps sometimes, I take it a bit too personal when people perpetuate this annoying idea that musical theater is a gimmick and not a serious art form. But don't be fooled by my superior demeanor. This new fascination for the musical episode isn't fueled by frustration. Well, not entirely. The overanalyzer in me is just dying to pinpoint exactly why some musical episodes seem to hit the ground running whilst others just seem to hit the ground. Face first, what are the defining factors? Is it possible for any show to produce a successful musical episode, or do certain elements have to be present from the get-go? Am I hyperfixating on something that no one cares about? Armed with a new life mission, I first had to decide what my next case study would be. And seeing I've already made video essays on Heathers and Next to Normal, perhaps you can guess which show was mentioned a few times in my comment sections. Hey, don't look at the title, that's cheating! Okay, you got me, it's Riverdale. And lucky me, Riverdale has made not one, not two, not three, or 4 or 5 or 6, but 7 musical episodes! One for each season, basically, which obviously leaves me with quite a few options to choose from. But seeing it was recently my 1-year anniversary of my Heathers the Musical versus the Movie video, I thought it was fitting to revisit Westerberg. So right off the bat, I'm getting good vibes here from the Riverdale writers as they decided not to write an original score, but to simply reimagine Heathers their original score. This might seem like the exact opposite of impressive to some of you guys, but to me it's a sign that the writers are aware of just how much goes into writing a good musical soundtrack. Either you go full in and spend a lot of time, energy, and money on this momentous task, or you just treat it as a marketing strategy to attract a new cult-like following using songs that were written for storytelling purposes anyway. Don't work harder. Work smarter. One might perceive this as lazy. In my Buffy analysis, I did say that the premise of simply having your characters put on a musical is perhaps a bit of an easy way out, but I feel like Riverdale stepped it up a bit by bleeding the songs into the normal life scenes and not just keeping them for on stage. So we're definitely off to a promising start. The hurdles to jump though will be how they make these songs that were written for very specific scenes work in different situations. A task that a lot of jukebox musicals can attest to is not that easy. It's gonna be May. It's a choice. Let's see if Riverdale does a better job. I'm gonna score each song based on how well they're integrated and executed, and at the end of the video, we will add all those points together. Will Riverdale pass or flunk the musical episode test? I'm curious, I'm excited, I'm intrigued, let's get into it. The first song they tackle is obviously the opener, Beautiful. In the musical, Beautiful serves as a double whammy. It is a classic opening number where our protagonist Veronica introduces us to her everyday life. Welcome to my school, this ain't no high school, this is the Thunderdome. But then at the same time, it also squeezes in Veronica's I Want song. I know, life can be beautiful, I pray for a better day. In the traditional structure of a musical theater score, the first song presents the ordinary world and the protagonist only expresses their wish in the second song. Like how in Book of Mormon, for example, we first get immersed by seeing the Mormons going door to door selling the Bible in the song Hello, and then later in 2 by 2, Elder Reprise states that he wants to do something incredible on his Mormon mission. In Riverdale, they skip the setting up of the ordinary world because, this is a well-established environment. Like, there's no need to clarify to the audience how the everyday life works here. And Kevin actually starts singing Beautiful to convince everyone that Heathers is the right choice for this year's musical, despite it dealing with dark themes, which seems like a bad idea after last year's tragedy during their performance of Carrie. R.I.P. Midge. He states that this rejection of nihilism is exactly what Riverdale needs. So by giving it a meta context and trimming some of the lyrics, Beautiful has now become Kevin's I Want song. I gotta give it to them, it's quite clever. The execution, however, I am not the biggest fan of. Like, I really felt the gaps in the music where they skipped certain lyrics, but that's perhaps just because I'm really familiar with the original. I'm still giving them the benefit of the doubt, but then they started swaying. With all due respect, what the fuck? Jazz walk, jazz walk, jazz walk. I'm sorry, there wasn't a single take where Evelyn looks a bit more confident doing the most basic step known to mankind. Oh boy, we're in for a wild ride, aren't we? It kind of just goes downhill from here when the rest of the cast gets involved and it becomes this game of for who does it sort of make sense to sing these lyrics? Like, I guess Josie and Archie singing the chorus vaguely works in their secret love affair scenario. Come to think about it, I don't know if it does. Then we skip to the students, their inner thoughts, which we can clearly see no one is singing out loud. No mouth movements, except for Kevin going, why? So really the only sound that is being made in that room is Kevin walking around going, what? Desperately trying to convince us that he can reach that note. But then Mayor Veronica's mummy instantly breaks that code by acknowledging the students their inner thoughts. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that becoming mayor gives you mind-reading powers. Sloppy. They then obviously had to include the iconic Heather, Heather, and Heather bit, but the segue into that doesn't make much sense. Kevin says Cheryl is the only one to float above all of this anxiety, but then we see her instantly get mega bothered when her ex Tony walks by. So what is it? Is she above it all or not? Anyway, they end the song in the theater, which I interpreted as them celebrating their safe space where life can be beautiful. Overall, I'm gonna give the Beautiful adaptation a 2.5 out of 5. Some fun ideas, but they got lost halfway through. I got a cup of tea. Tea! Ooh, that feels good in body, yaddy. The following scene, we get transported to Exposition Town. Everyone not only says which character they are playing to catch up the new director. I'm sorry, can't you just read the cast list? But they also give a full-on character description. Your new co-director didn't even bother to read the script. I'm sorry to point out the obvious, but she might not be very useful. Then Kevin announces that Tony will be the choreographer, which obviously rubs Cheryl the wrong way, and prompts the second song, Candy Store. I thought that was a rather successful scene-to-song transition. Again, quite a lot of the lyrics are cut, and some even get a more family-friendly replacement, which, I mean, isn't Jug's mom a secret drug lord? Like, why can we not have Cheryl sing about smoking and pounding rum and coke? Unless that obviously contradicts, like, previously stated preferences. Like, maybe it's known that Cheryl is not a smoker and doesn't drink alcohol. I am by no means a Riverdale connoisseur, so if anyone wants to shed some light on this, be my guest in the comment section. I actually was really enjoying this rendition of Candy Store, but my god, I absolutely was screaming when they both went down the octave for "and end up like her." How very anticlimactic. The songs are so heavily produced anyway, like just add in someone's vocal who can reach those notes. Troy Bolton got away with it. But no, yeah, I actually thought this adaptation was quite strong. The song really worked as this battle of the choreos between Cheryl and Tony. 4 out of 5. After this, Betty confronts Evelyn about only joining as co-director in an attempt to recruit members for her cult, but Evelyn denies these claims and says she's doing it to have big fun. This gives her the idea to invite everyone to a house party that evening in costume, because that's not weird at all. Poor costume department having to figure out how to remove some suspicious stains. Cue the house party where we get served with the most cringy segue ever. Betty asks,
"I wonder what your father, Edgar, would say about all this, Evelyn."
And she responds, "No need to wonder. Dad says act your age." Woo, my goodness gracious me. Well, that was incredibly smooth now, wasn't it? The trend of sanitizing the lyrics continues, which, again, confusing to me. Is Riverdale set in a world where drugs exist, but teenagers just don't do them? Where's the line? Some of the replacement lyrics are really not my favorite, like for example, Veronica is hot tonight. The diggity dang bit now marks Tony's arrival at the party, which I thought was a strong choice, keeping in line with that more menacing vibe that bit originally has. So again, not too angry with this reimagination of the song, although let's be honest, they didn't do much reimagining, like it's still just a house party. Except this time the pig pinata gets replaced with some hooking up drama, so really quite a bit more boring, let's be honest. 2 out of 5. Fast forward through all the drama without any songs till we get to Evelyn approaching Cheryl in the bathroom. Cheryl, being a method actor through and through, asks, "What's your damage?" And Evelyn responds very dramatically that Tony is wearing a red outfit. Gasp! The audacity. Killer!
Did you have a lobotomy for breakfast?
Cheryl's really losing herself in the role of Chandler, but to be honest, if your character is the one with all the iconic lines, it's hard not to indulge. She tells Tony to leave school and this kicks off Dead Girl Walking. This whole section is pretty much a copy-paste from the musical. Popular girl threatens underdog whose coping mechanism is to engage in sexual activity. They try to make it a bit interesting by hinting at a threesome. Again, where is the line? So threesomes are allowed, but singing about drugs is a hard no. Gotcha, yeah. But yeah, in a weird way, the situation fits the song so well that it's kind of just boring. They do spruce it up a bit by giving Tony a vision of Cheryl, which snaps her out of her nymphomania. Thank God they added something, because you know, if I wanted to watch the original, I would have just watched the original. I'll be generous, 3 out of 5. We get a scene where Sprouse invites Betty to find his mum's drugs trailer. I'm sorry, I can't even say it without laughing. Honestly, no tea, no shade to Riverdale, like it's mega successful, but you know, I'm not really its target audience, and therefore sometimes, like, it almost feels like a parody to me, like, can't help it. Like, come on, his name is Jughead? How am I meant to take that seriously? Anyway, focus on. Betty declines this invitation as she says she has to go spy on Evelyn's closed rehearsal in the gargoyle chamber. Oh my lord. Have mercy on my soul. So in this cold ceremony, we get the song Our Love Is God. Yes, I see the vision. Still staying within the theme of manipulation, plus pushing the story forwards, teasing us by only showing snippets of the ceremony to build up curiosity. They even did a little callback to the 3D glasses from the film. I think I might have to give this one a 5 out of 5. Our next song is Fight For Me, this time sung as a duet between Archie and Josie at Archie's boxing practice. Talk about a lucky coincidence. I think if the storyline of Archie being a boxer didn't exist, they would have just skipped this song. Because frankly, even in the musical, it isn't my favorite, but my god, they made it so boring here. Yay, we're going to make our relationship official, but also like, could you do anything else than just walking around that boxing ring? 1.5 out of 5. The 0.5 is for the lift at the end. In the next scene, Tony brings Cheryl a drink, but not to poison her. This one really is an olive branch. Boring. And then they have a chat about love. Sprouse tells Betty they found his mum's camper van turned drug lab and laments on their lost innocence. This is where 17 starts featuring yet another one of the finest examples of a cringe transition. I've got a crazy idea. Let's be normal. Oh my god, that's so crazy. Halfway through, it turns into a double duet where Cheryl and Tony also sing parts of the song, which I was really grateful for because I thought it was getting a bit boring like Fight For Me. Like, I guess it's easier to get away with just lovingly singing into each other's faces when it is a ballad, but annoyingly, they didn't really take advantage of the fact that there are now 4 people singing this song. Let's have some fun harmonies, maybe they can mirror movements of each other. There's so much wasted potential, really. The back and forth between the two couples did help to keep up the momentum, but it could have been so much more. 2 out of 5. It's a different day and we're somewhere else. Get over it. Guys, stop looking at my forehead. Oh my god, forehead reveal. Yeah, I really need to get my bangs cut like yesterday. Especially because I'm attending a wedding in like 10 days. I'm gonna ruin their special day with my ugly hair. Following that, we get a scene where Veronica tries to convince her dad to stay. This bleeds into her rehearsal for the song Lifeboat. So instead of Heather McNamara singing about having suicidal thoughts, now Veronica, how confusing by the way that she's called Veronica but plays McNamara. Anyway, she sings about her parents' divorce. I think that works. Yet again, they cut out the high part, which in this occasion is like the heart of the song. We really need this intense moment to fully feel the depth of her despair. So that's definitely gonna cost some points. I gave it a 2. Then we get to our finale, beautiful Reprise, and this takes place at opening night in real time when they are performing the finale number on stage. The cast is lined up at the front of the stage. How very chorus line of them. And halfway through we get a flashback of Jug and Betty watching the drug van burn down whilst drinking a slushie, which I thought was a nice touch. At the end of the song, for some reason, no one claps. Alright, so your parents clearly all hate you. The only one who starts a slow clap is the dude from One Tree Hill, which we have to admit, that just makes sense on a cosmic level. The song in itself was really straightforward, like I guess they did some fun camera panning work, but I wasn't the biggest fan of the choreo. Sorry, Tony. So I'm gonna rate it another 2 out of 5. And there we have it. Those are all of the 9 numbers of the Heathers soundtrack that feature in Season 3, Episode 16 of Riverdale. And if everyone now could please direct their attention to the scoreboard. Out of 45, Big Fun scored 24! So it passed the musical episode test, bravo! It was a close one, but it just about tipped the scales to the winning side. And that perfectly encapsulates my feelings on this episode. All in all, I think the writers didn't view this musical endeavor as a quick gimmick. Like, they clearly aren't oblivious to musical theater culture, so that's a big relief. We can see this most in Kevin's dialogue. He displays a very good understanding of the message of Heathers and a lot of respect for the original show. But at the same time, I really miss some ingenuity here. Like, okay, you made the songs fit quite decently into the storyline of the episode, but that's like the bare minimum. Musicals often get described as the medium where emotions get so big that the characters can't help but to sing. I have my reservations on this statement, but for this particular example, I do think it's applicable. I really missed a sense of urgency here. What is so overwhelming that the characters can only express by singing? What justifies this sudden shift from a non-singing context to a full-on musical? Oh, it's because they're putting on a musical? Okay, well then, why are they still singing in their non-performing scenes? You know what I mean? What keeps that energy bubbling over more than in an ordinary Riverdale episode? I think there was a solid foundation to work on, but unfortunately, they just left it there. No one elevated the material to bring something special to life. Yeah, I think it all just felt a bit rushed, if I'm honest. But those are obviously only my thoughts on the matter, and so I would love to hear yours. Did you love? Did you hate? Did I forget to mention something super important? I've actually not seen any of the other musical episodes of Riverdale, so how do they compare to this one? Should I make a video about them? As always, if you're into this type of musical theater video essay content, I have a whole channel for you to binge on. And if you're feeling generous, please remember to like, subscribe, comment, and whatever your heart tells you to do. It always helps to boost the algorithm so we can connect to more like-minded people. And I think that's it. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye! That's so cringe.